We can all aspire for the moon and beyond.
One was the rocket, and it worked beautifully and almost perfectly. And the other thing is the heat shield, because it's coming in hot and fast. It's coming in at 32 times the speed of sound.
These people in the space
that's
program,
about
nassholes, I call them. In case you haven't heard, the latest disaster for the rest of the universe is that the United States is going to go to Mars. Okay? Oh, yeah. We're going to go to Mars. And then, of course, we're going to colonize deep space with our microwave hot dogs and plastic vomit, fake dog shit,
and the bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and the hens lay soft-boiled eggs. The farmer's trees are full of fruit, and the barns are full of hay. Oh, I'm bound to go where there ain't no snow, where the rain don't fall, the wind don't blow in the big rock candy mountain.
Now take down your fishing pole and meet me at the fishing hole. We may not get a bite all day, but don't you rush away. What a great place to rest your bones, and mighty fine for skipping stones. You feel fresh as a lemonade sitting in the shade. Whether it's hot, whether it's cool, oh, what a spot for whistling like a fool. What a fine day to take a stroll and wander by a fishing hole. I can't think of a better way to pass the time of day.
Well, I met a man the other day who thought the earth was flat. I said, man, you must be crazy. Where the hell is your tinfoil hat? But he spoke with such conviction, and he believed the words he spoke. And something deep inside me knew this couldn't be a joke. But why would he believe this? And why believe such things? 'Cause everybody knows the earth's a ball and that it spins. Well, you must be pretty crazy if you think the earth is flat. 'Cause we all know that it's a globe, and that's a simple fact. So I said, what about the photographs that NASA takes from space? He gave a knowing smile and told me, man, those things are fake. But what about the videos that I've seen with my two eyes? What about them? He replied, have you heard of CGI? Oh, NASA's faking everything that you have ever seen. And as for flying to the moon, well, they ain't never been. Indeed, my friend, their lying scum is there for you to see. Just take some time, look into it, and the truth will set you free. $50 million, man, what could you do with that? That's what NASA gets a day to hide the earth is flat. You see, if they can get you to believe that you're on a spinning ball, well, things like God and creation just make no sense at all. It all exploded from nothing, right, with their theory of Big Bang. It's true satanic mind control from the Freemasonic gang. You see, it's only Freemasons that get to go to space. They're the evil bastards who are lying to your face. Yeah, NASA's pretty evil, man. The whole thing is such a fraud. The only reason they exist is to hide a loving God. Oh, NASA's faking everything that you have ever seen. And as for flying to the moon, well, they ain't never been. Indeed, my friend, their lying scum is there for you to see. Just take some time, look into it, and the truth will set you free. Yeah, NASA's pretty evil, man. They're a lying scumbag. Take some time, man. Look into it. I did.
General Mayor,
Truly blown.
you're asking for 150% increase in the budget for Space Force, and that will be used
to defend America.
Chairwoman, I yield the rest of my time This budget looks A-OK to me. And General Neary, thank you. I feel safer knowing that we have satellites that can rain God's holy hellfire upon our enemies on this majestic, flat Earth of ours.
Yes, Congressman, this Earth is certainly majestic.
And flat. And flat.
And flat.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you... For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives.
Oh, gee, I would like to ask for recess. You can't handle the truth.
I think we've covered this, haven't we?
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. You can't handle the truth. Are we clear, Colonel? You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. Are we clear? You can't handle the truth. I'm being charged with a crime. I'm gonna rip the eyes out of your head! You with the wrong Marine! Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
One small step for man and one giant setback. NASA announced some tough news about its mission to the moon.
The agency has delayed America's return to the moon by about a year. Now astronauts will have to wait until at least 2026 to land on the moon again.
As Fox's Esther Bowers explains, officials say they need more time to safely send astronauts back to the lunar surface.
In 1969, we were able to send somebody to the moon. 1969. Then we had the space shuttle. The space shuttle could only take people to low Earth orbit. Then the space shuttle retired, and the United States could take no one to orbit. So that's the trend.
Safety is our top priority. And to give Artemis teams more time to work through the challenges with first-time developments, operations, and integration, we're going to give more time on Artemis 2 and 3.
They give us cartoons and they claim that we live on a ball, but it's flat and it's not moving or spinning at all. Why you lying to us, man? That's something that we want to know. After that, you're gonna have to pack up all your stuff and go.
Ready, set, go.
A government watchdog says NASA will likely delay its launch of Artemis 3 again. The launch is aimed at returning humans to the moon for the first time in 50 years. It was initially planned for 2024, but is now delayed until December 2025. The watchdog reports it could be pushed back as far as 2027. Joining me now to discuss is CBS News space consultant.
So that's the trend. The trend is like down to nothing. This is not... People are mistaken when they think that technology just automatically improves. It does not automatically improve. It only improves if a lot of people work very hard to make it better. And actually, it will, I think, by itself degrade, actually.
So talk about the challenges here. Why are we seeing this delay?
You know, there's a variety of reasons that are playing into this. You know, you had the COVID epidemic or pandemic. It really slowed down the development of needed hardware. There are budget issues NASA's facing, and SpaceX is taking longer than expected to perfect their super heavy Starship rocket. That's that gigantic rocket. They've test flown twice out of Texas. Both flights were only partially successful. They have to get that worked out, perfected, and launch enough successful test flights that NASA would be willing to put its astronauts on board, because the upper stage of that rocket, what they call the Starship, that's what's going to carry astronauts back down to the moon's surface.
You look at great civilizations like ancient Egypt, and they were able to make the pyramids, and they forgot how to do that. And the Romans, they built these incredible aqueducts. They forgot how to do it.
We haven't been to the moon in over 50 years, and we'll have to wait even longer.
And as we prepare to send our friends and colleagues on this mission, we're committed to launching as safely as possible, and we will launch when we're ready.
NASA isn't ready and says several issues relating to life support and spacecraft safety need work. Scientists are troubleshooting an issue from Artemis 1 with the heat shield.
What we were not expecting were some pieces of that chart to be liberated from the vehicle, and so we need to make sure we understand the transport and debris transport phenomena that caused.
NASA found other issues with air ventilation and temperature control on the Orion spacecraft. And liftoff.
Dear NASA, it's becoming 100% crystal clear that you and the other space programs that are in operation are connected and are deceiving the entire world. More and more people are waking up every single day, and we are now able to see right through you. But what we really want to know is, why are you lying?
It's a round, see? But we all know it's a flat, right?
Of course it's flat. Sure, I know the world is flat.
Yeah, so do I. Everybody knows that.
Good morning, saints, and welcome, sinners. This is the Critical Christian Crowd. I'm your laconic lay leader, Lon Lanky, live from a snowy, cold, stupid weather, West Central Minnesota. Me, Margaret, the herd of mooses, fish on the wall, all the chitty chatsters in the chat room. Guten Morgen und wie geht's es Ihnen? Good to have you all here. It's favorite topic day. Two favorite topic days. The weather manipulation, and NASA. I know people are saying NASA's low-hanging fruit. Leave them alone. Everybody knows now. It's been over 10 years since the great biblical cosmology awakening. Everybody knows. Well, if you don't keep a close eye on them, they with their nefarious nonsense, then they've done it again. I'm not stunned. I am thankful, Lord, not only for the opportunity to contend for the faith today, but I am thankful, Lord, for the understanding I have that when a liar is a liar, they just chase their tail. And they don't go forward, they go backwards. They don't build, they destroy. And that's what this is all about. Anyway, a quick good morning to everybody in the chat. We got a quick weather report from everyone. I don't know, Uncle Drunkle's Country Cabin is a favorite channel of everyone, well, hopefully everyone, of me, myself, and Margaret, and the mooses and the fish on the wall, because our good friend, Mr. Cuss, Uncle Drunkle, is, off-grid. So when it snows 2 to 4 feet up there, you kind of want to keep an eye on him, make sure he's okay. Because, self-sustained. But they got a ton of snow. It's cold everywhere. But here in West Central Minnesota,
I can't stay here anymore. I can't live here anymore, please.
It was minus 12 on the gauge, and the wind was blowing out of the northwest at about 20, 25 miles an hour constant, which gave us a corresponding weather data number of 35 below Fahrenheit. That's pretty cold. That's beyond brutal cold. That has now delved into stupid cold, and it's stupid cold. I mean, stupid cold. I got my Minnesota alpaca yarmulke on this morning. Not for religious purposes, for warmth purposes. Keep the top of thy noggin warm. That's the rule. And your feetsies, except in the summer when you're supposed to go barefoot and ground yourself to the earth for some cosmic reason. Pfft. Anyway, nice to see y'all here this morning. I always get, I put the giddy and giddy up when I see that NASA has done something insane again. It's just fun. And I knew it. The Spirit told me. You know, you, me, us, we watch NASA a whole lot differently than everybody else does. We just do, because we don't believe them. So when they said back in, I think it was 2020, maybe 2021. Anyway, if you don't remember, I remember, they did a promo event on going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. And all the diverse people came out and said, we're going to the moon. And all the equitable people came out and went, we're going to the moon. And then all the inclusive people came out and said, we're all going to this. Remember that NASA promo? We're going to the moon. 2024. Big crescendo music and all the CGI and the globe earth spinning around. And we're going to the moon 2024. Well, okay. About a year later, give or take, they pushed that date of 2024 to 2025. And when they did that, me in the prayer closet said, they ain't done pushing it back. They're not going. They're not going back. Now, you can take that to your own prayer closet and see what comes up. But that's they can't. They can't. Because there are too many people out there know that they want to see the Earth once they get up on, and apparently they're going to the South Pole, so they'd be standing upside down on the moon, shooting the ball Earth upside down while it's spinning and the moon is orbiting. We all know it doesn't make any sense, but it really doesn't make any sense now. Throw in the fact, and I know I'm not the only one on this. I know I'm not. Who's going to figure out what the Earth curvature rate is? And it's going to be, like I've said before, the moon is 49 times smaller than the Earth is. So that curvature is going to be everywhere and very distinct, succinct, exact. You're going to be able to see it. So just like they say, well, there's no straight lines on a sphere. Well, you told us it's a sphere. We don't know that the moon is a sphere. What do we think it is? We don't think it is. We don't believe it is. We know it is. It's the lesser light. It's a light in the sky. Talked about that in the green room this morning too. They're luminaries. They're just all lights in the sky. That's all they are. And somehow, we know the history of all that. I'm going to go fishing in a different stream this morning when I'm clearly fishing well in this stream this morning. So once again, it's the only form of transportation that goes backwards. Doesn't go forwards, it goes backwards. All that technology they learned in the 1960s and early 70s to go to the moon. Boy, they just go to the moon. Well, that's all been destroyed. And it's a painful process to bring it back, right? Astronaut Don? I wish they'd roll him out a little bit more. I watched a quick interview by some Aussie guy from Neil Armstrong before he took his dirt nap. And it was interesting. I didn't know this. He was a test pilot. I think everybody knew that Neil Armstrong was a test pilot. But he ran some 28 missions in the Korean War. And he said, comparatively speaking, running the war missions were far more frightening for him than going to the moon. And you gotta pause and think, wait a minute. I know, and he was flying B-52 bombers, I believe, to the best of my understanding, that's what he was flying, right? And everyone understands, and everybody military knows that they sign up to kill people, and part of killing people is getting killed themselves. So that's they don't fear that. They know that's in their job description. But for him to say that was the most, troublesome or worrisome or whatever word he used, more so than going to the moon, in a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum with 3 different directions and 3 different speeds, and then landing on a light. That didn't bother him at all. Never been done before, and he was going to be the first. One small problem, he's dead. That didn't frighten him at all. Huh. Why? 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 If it looks and sounds unbelievable, trust them. It is unbelievable. And they say this all the time. It's the unbelievable, the impossible mission to the moon. You've heard it, and they continue to do it. Not nearly impossible or almost unbelievable. This unbelievable, impossible mission that these men embark on. Yeah. Well, look at you, Mrs. E, in there. Thanks. You got the link to Don Pettit and his mess in there, too. Oh, we've got some wrenches of love that just go above and beyond. Thank you, Mrs. E. So anyway, that intro clip, and that is a freestanding. You don't have to scroll back and listen to this whole live presentation. If you want to see it, it's a freestanding offering. It's got Elon's mug on it for a thumbnail. But, and to finish, put a tidy bow on Neil Armstrong. He also reminded this interviewer that Apollo 8, because he didn't know that 11 was going to go to the moon. He didn't know, right? But 8, 9, and 10 all went up around the moon in pretty quick succession. And remember, I was a kid during those 60s, as many of you were. And you remember, there was space news every single day. They were going up, and then John Glenn and Alan Shepard and all this stuff. And then they were flying around the moon and the big buildup. But they were just sending rockets up left and right, zooming around the moon. 8, 9, and 10, I believe, all went to the moon, didn't land. But Neil Armstrong's testimony was that he didn't know, and then it just rolled out that 11 were going to be the ones. And when they asked, he said, yeah, we'll do it. And, I pray for these guys because I think they are beyond mind raped. I just think their minds have been melted and molded and formed beyond any one of our belief or understanding. I do know one thing. They have a tendency to come back and become politicians. John Glenn, Mark Kelly, more recently, Bill Nelson. He's a senator. He was an astronaut on the space shuttle. But anyway, in that intro, Elon immediately, and it's an old clip from Elon about SpaceX, his company, but it was him looking back at where space travel had gone since the 1960s. And he more or less said, it's going backwards. It's going backwards. Not since the beginning of travel, including man walking, have things not improved. Man was walking around and said, how can I make this better? And he made sandals, and he made walking better, and then tennis shoes, and then running shoes, and then boots for different weather conditions. That's transportation. That's going from point A to point B. It always gets better. It always gets better. Bicycles, they always get better. Motorcycles, they always get better. Cars, they always get better. Trucks, they always get better. Airplanes, they always get better. Spaceships. Spaceships. We don't know how to do that anymore. We forgot how to do that. Elon said that when you look at the old civilizations of the Roman Empire and what was the other one? Anyway, they forgot how to make the aqueducts. They forgot how to make the pyramids. Oh, the Egyptians. Yeah, so he quoted Babylon and Rome. Okay, Elon. I think that'll get you a shot or two off the plunger gun. All right. All of a sudden, you're doing Jim Cramer. All that stupid sound effect stuff. Stop it. Worst audio engineer in the history of mankind. Yeah, if it looks like I'm looking and glancing at the monitor, I look like I'm beat up. I slept in. It's cold. I don't think I'm awake yet. Anyway. So, yeah, that was Elon and his disgust with space travel. And it should be our disgust with space travel. And I say that here in America because you, me, us, we are paying for it. We're paying for it. And the fact that they're going to now delay to 2027? 2027? Listen, this is the start of 2024. That's 1 year, 25, 26, and then depending upon where they slide in 27, that's a full 3 years. Well, that's a 3-year delay on top of a 3-year delay. See what happens? See what they do? They just keep pushing it back and pushing it back. Farther, push it back, farther.
I was a cheerleader for my high school wrestling team.
Yeah, I bet you were. So anyway, that's that. And they gave reasons for these delays. And they rolled out creepy Bill Nelson and that idiotic spook voice he has. Well, we've decided. I'll have to work on his voice, but it's creepy. But, it's safety. Safety. It's always about peace and safety, right? What happens when we say peace and safety? Huh? Beware of courageous stupidity. Because when they say peace and safety, as the Bible says, as the good book says, you know what comes after when they say peace and safety? Sudden destruction. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction. Okay. Frightening. And they are guilty. They are guilty. Now, if this was just me saying, they're not going to go, that'd be one thing. It'd be all speculation. It'd be all imaginative. It'd be all, whatever. Doubtful frustration with a terrible agency that's just taking money whenever they want. No, but this is NASA saying this. Here are the reasons they gave. Here's some, but this is what the Purdy Word Readers said, what Bill Nelson said, and one of the official NASA representatives that was on the propaganda box said, not only was there safety concern, number one, for the astronauts, the SpaceX people, but the vents, they had a problem with the vents. They had a problem with the heat shields. They had problems with temperature control. They had problems with the life support systems. And they had budgetary issues. What? Wow. That's a pretty big list. And you've been working on this rocket with the smartest people in the world, rocket scientists. Who knew that was just helium and aluminum and balsa wood? But there they are. And they got all these problems? Yeah. Just a reminder, too, that, there's a little bit of Elon saying that technology degrades. Well, we're watching the same thing happen with society as we're watching with technology. Now, they want you, me, us, we to yoke ourselves with technology as they socially deconstruct this realm. It's my new word, deconstruction. And then their technology, according to NASA, is going backwards. Well, whenever they talk technology, it's always space-age technology. Everything space-age technology. Well, they're going backwards. Why would anyone look to them for not only truth, which you're never going to find, but for technological advantage? It ain't coming from these guys. Listen, if you had a business on your own, if you were a young or older entrepreneur and had a small business to run, and NASA showed up with this work ethic, with this work schedule, you'd fire them after a month. I see you came to work. Are you doing anything? Yeah, I made all sorts of mistakes yesterday, and I gotta try to fix them. And that goes on day after day after day, month after month after month. And blow up a couple of rockets, everything's destruction and chaos. You'd fire them. They're supposed to be an extension of the United States government, are they? I don't know. I don't know what their entity power is. I know they got a lot of power. Prince and power of the air. That's what they are. Anyway, that's it. And then in that intro piece too, like NASA always does, they rolled Elon under the bus. They tossed him under the bus. Now SpaceX, they can't get their Falcon Heavy ready, and that's not going well. And until they're ready, we're not going to sacrifice the safety of our astronauts because Elon's not ready. That was the reason why I put Elon in that piece, because I mean, I understand it. I've seen him do it before, but they tried to red scarf scapegoat, toss him under the bus. Our good buddy Elon, candidate for the Antichrist. In the top 5 candidate for the Antichrist, Elon Musk Oil. A lot of people listen to him, and everything turning X now. I got another offering coming up here in the near future in regards to X and everything X, but I don't want to go fishing in that stream this morning. Good numbers Sunday morning, this morning. Dan Weston's in this morning. Emily Suzanne, nice to see you here. I'm taking a little bit of a break here. Yeah, grab yourselves a cup of coffee, will you? Chat amongst yourselves. It was kind of a short green room and a short intro this morning, too, so I'm having to do a little more yap flapping before I get to these clips. I got 4 little ones. We'll be right on the button this morning, too, so everybody can get off to church. Just a reminder, too, that Mrs. E. Rochelle did put in a link to another reverend, a man of God, Rich Tidwell. Jeez. Paid $500 to get my nose fixed. Now my mouth won't work. Pastor Rich Tidwell. And I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going off of Mrs. E's recommendation. But that link is in the chat. Remember, these live chats, at least for my channel, disappear after I render this thing out. So go snap that link and, and grab it. And the reason I brought her inclusion of that pastor up, and like I said, I don't know him. We'll test spirits on him when we watch it. Was I found another pastor that probably a lot of you are familiar with from Wow Church. And this guy, that pastor, that I just check on these guys, he tends to waffle back and forth. Well, guess what? Same thing that happened to our dear brother, the film producer and actor over there in the circus tent in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, actor Greg Locke, when he thought he had all the brain power in the world to take on somebody like Pastor Dean, who has written the book. and well, we don't use win or lose, but he got himself edified. And I think most of us think that he rejected that edification. But you never know. We'll see. Anyway, this pastor from Wow got the same thing. Bunch of congregants coming up to him going, when are you going to preach on the flat earth? When are you gonna? And unfortunately, the thing that's grievous to the soul is that these flat earthers, I'd like to say they're born again spirit led, but if they were born again spirit led, they wouldn't be calling out men of God without even having a private conversation with them, or at least having a calm and gentle conversation about position and belief, which we all know can be Willy Wonka-ish at times. But anyway, he took it on, and I got about halfway through it, and it's the same old argument. Aristophanes and his sticks, Aristotle. And I keep thinking, well, at least we're armed. When they bring up Aristophanes and his 2 sticks, what do? We bring up Plato and Ptolemy. because they think that's a big deal. Oh, this was 500 years before Christ lived, and Aristophanes had his sticks out, and everybody knew. Well, yeah. Well, Plato. I see your Aristophanes, and I raise you Plato and Ptolemy. So anyway, I'm going to review that too, see if I can find some stuff to pull out of there. And the point was this. I pray that Spirit-led followers of Christ, true believers, born-again, Spirit-led, God-fearing followers of Christ, are a little more calm in their presentation of this idea, or their understanding and knowledge of God's static breadth realm. But anyway, again, I don't want to get fishing over in a wrong stream. But anyway, that's coming. So thank you, Mrs. E. All right, let's get to the clips here. You see, the amazing thing was, did you know this too? In case you didn't know, the ISS,
The Floatyville tuna can.
we're floating upward. We're floating. Yeah, that's coming down in 5 or 6 years. Yeah, that's coming down. It's only been up there since 1982, or some insane magical building of a Stanley Kubrick idea. Anyway, it's coming down. According to NASA, it's coming down. So I did the NASA math on this on my own, without a piece of paper or a fancy NASA data addition machine. Yeah, in about 7-8 years, if NASA doesn't go to the moon and they don't have an international space station, and what the article said was that the United States will have to depend on another nation who has a space station. Well, right now that's China. What?
Huh? You said China. Everybody's talking about China. Given all our technologies and all of our land and all of our food and all of our young men and everything to China. And in the World Economic Forum, they love China. China's the number one son.
Very good, Margaret. Yeah. So the United States will have to depend on China. What? You see a trend developing here yet, folks? Anyway, it's coming down. So for a country that has the first ever Space Force military branch of their government, they'll have nothing in space. Nothing. I know I'm just a stinky old fisherman, but come on. The good Lord has blessed me with some common sense. And I hope you folks get this as well. Let me run that panel again. If it looks like it's make-believe and unbelievable, impossible, trust them. It is. If they say they can't do it, trust them. But don't applaud them. Don't reward them. Don't give them accolades and donuts. Hold them to the fire. Because you, me, us, and we here in America are paying for it. Anyway, that's that. Now,
Get to the fun part.
Here comes the comedy part of the program on this beautiful, blessed Sunday morning. It's not funny. It's joyful to see how these all yoke together, because I don't know whether you remember when India?
How can they possibly have a space agency? India?
Yeah, India got a space agency, like Wednesday, and by Saturday they had a moon boat, a space rocket headed to the moon. What? How did that happen? Well, it just did. It just did. Everybody, Australia's getting one, and everybody's getting a space agency. India's getting one. Pakistan's getting one.
South Korea's getting one. Everybody's getting a space agency. Oh, okay. Well, India's was really fun because it was so goofy. It was, well, I'll let the clips speak for themselves. But to start it off was, and I found this clip this morning. It's from back when India did their thing. And lo and behold, who do you think was there? Standing there with all his intellectual capabilities and his microphone and his magical mystery colorful vest. As sure as my name is Phil Donahue, it was our good buddy, Uncle Neil. Here we go.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
That, by the way, one of the most iconic speeches in American history. That was September 1962. That was John F. Kennedy announcing America's intention to put a man on the moon. Well, here we are, 61 years later, and we're talking about another historic moon moment.
Yes, we are, because India just became the fourth nation to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon. But India is the only country that has ever landed near the moon's south pole, and that's significant.
Here to explain why this is so significant, we have astrophysicist and author Neil deGrasse Tyson here to break it down for us. Good morning to you,
Good morning.
Neil.
Good morning.
Good morning, Neil. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, guess who they rolled out to talk about astrophysics and outer space? Uncle Neil. So he allegedly was over there. So if you're not aware of what India did, here's our good buddy Joey Bones over there. And my thanks to Joey Bones and CBS.
We are nearing and approaching the lunar surface.
Wait, what?
We were hovering and now we are approaching the moon's surface.
The moon's surface? Hold on a second. Is this a moon landing or a demo of the new Galaga? I'm not quite sure I'm understanding the premise here.
India has become now the fourth country to land a spacecraft on the moon.
This was a moon landing? Looks more like gameplay footage from Blast Corps on Nintendo 64 to me.
People are applauding.
I don't know. Something's fishy here. Who even waves a flag like this? Guy's sitting there acting like a ventriloquist dummy. There's got to be someone controlling him from the back. This is not a natural human demeanor.
No, it is not. Yeah, Joey Bones is one of those guys who mocks the world. That just cannot believe that humanity has just fallen apart. That all of our worst nightmares have come true. That everyone is a little god. Everyone's a producer. Everyone's a director. Everyone's an actor. They have their own cameras. They have their own microphones. And all of humanity is just collapsing in on itself. Now, thank good God in heaven that there are enough good men and women out there who understand not only God's natural order, but more importantly, how to get through your day-to-day life. Men, go to work. Men, build, build, build. Women, help the men. And if you want to have a family, get married, have kids, teach your children up the right way. But nothing changes in the responsibilities of working. And whether you're working your own land or working for somebody else, you're working. And you're working not one, not two, not three, but as many ways you can to build your wealth, to provide and take care of your family. So anyway, how did I get off on that? I don't know. Anyway, the obvious, Joey Bones, and it's we've said it here too. It was like that little girl who was deconstructing the Bible. It's just difficult to watch and listen to. And when you have to edit these pieces together, you got to take a break and go, and come back and watch the spew off of your mouth. By the way, is what Christ said to those who were using his name and casting demons out and healing in his name, but didn't know him. Yeah, I don't know. Who are you? Spewed him out of his mouth. Nazareth. Anyway, so that's that. Thank you, Lord. And it's just, yeah.
The West is back to playing its old games, discrediting India's achievements and questioning India's motives.
Oh, you're shocked people are questioning this? Look at this thing. You don't have questions?
It is the world's first to land on the moon's south pole. This is a fact.
Oh, is it? Hey, look, here's me going to the moon. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, this is actual footage. I'm sure you don't have any questions about this either, right? Look, if you're gonna pass off GameCube footage as space exploration, why wouldn't you use the PS5? The graphics are much more believable. All jokes aside, look, if this is supposed to be some sort of animated representation of what's happening up there, fine, I get it. What I don't get is, we could live stream the 69 moon landing, yet in 2023 the only way we can see what's happening up there is through a screen capture of someone playing a hacked Atari game, and you can't fathom why people have questions?
The very first pictures are emerging from India's rover.
Give me a break. Where's the real footage? You could buy a GoPro for $50. There's no excuse here. Look.
You can buy a GoPro for $50. And this is really why I believe, I don't know for sure, what they're up to. And this panel, should make you question some things. We'll get to the 3 questions here this morning. But I've always asked, particularly amongst my brethren, but also in the prayer closet, what are they doing? Because we know they're not going into outer space. So what are they doing? I don't know yet. But if you let your uncaptive thoughts wander, boy, oh boy, it gets dark real quick and dangerous. Because if they're using them for what Wernher von Braun developed rockets for, which was the annihilation of at least England, if not humanity itself, then things haven't changed too much. Things have not changed too much. And that's a frightening notion. I remember speaking to Uncle Drunkle. One afternoon I came home from work, and let me tell you something, the spirit was on me in regards to these sounding rockets. And I'd done a piece on sounding rockets back in 2018, 2019 on Fisherman in a Box. Because sounding rockets are important, and they've developed a technology where a rocket can go up a couple hundred feet, very low to the Earth's surface. And then it's got kickers, rocket thrusters and kickers, and then it shoots that rocket straight across the surface of the Earth. Now, I've seen videos of these sounding rockets, these ballistic missiles, and they can fire them from land, they can fire them from a ship, they can fire them from anywhere. But that's exactly what they do. They don't go up more than, if they're going up 1,000 feet, I'd be hard-pressed to believe it's much more. And then they kick over to horizontal, and then they go out ballistically. But anyway, I don't want to call it an open vision, but it wasn't good. Because if you've got all these countries with their space agencies and sounding rocket technology and obviously missile head technology, and somebody at the table of 150 pushes the red button, and forget about old Joe pushing the red button. He can't even find the red button. Or Putin. They didn't do that. We haven't used nuclear weapons since 47? But if they decide at the table of 150 to push the green button, and it is. It's mass annihilation.
Oh, what a beautiful thought this Sunday morning, and that the whole world is going to come under fire, and 1/3 of the population will die.
Well, that's biblical, isn't it? So anyway, we should be joyful. A good book tells us to be joyful in all of this knowledge as well, because we know it's coming. So when you see things like this, when you see NASA do what it does, that voodoo that they do only so well, then you get an understanding. And then you get a verily, verily on it from the secular side when you got Bozo the Clown, Neil Smoking deGrasse Tyson out there just telling everybody that this is the greatest thing in the world. Here we go. Last piece.
We understand you actually met with the Indian Prime Minister earlier this summer. What did you to talk about with regard to space exploration?
That was his first comment. He says, here are our plans for space. We want to involve private enterprise. We want to grow. I said, yeah, good. I said, try to make sure everybody's involved because then the whole country can participate. Because India's a diverse community of ethnicities and religions. And I said, that way the whole country can share in these visions. And maybe ambitions in space could be one of the greatest forces of peace.
I was just about to say, and unify it.
A unifying force of peace for everyone's
unifying
future.
force of peace. Let's let that marinate for a minute.
Yes.
Thank you, Neil. Happy that you came to see us. Thank you.
Yeah, let that marinade for a second, as she said. Yeah, put that in your peace pipe and smoke it, will you? Yeah, on a mission, a space peace mission. What? A space peace mission. Well, I thought we just went over this. Yeah. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction. Sudden destruction. Let's get the 3 questions up there real quick. I'm running out of time. Darn, I thought I was going to have plenty, and I don't. So ask yourself these 3 questions, biblically speaking. Not a cosmic perspective, but a biblical perspective. Is the moon the lesser light? Yes or no? Yes. It's a light. It's not a reflective rock. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that the moon is a rock. Nowhere. So, pastors, take note. If you're going to defend your heliocentric, spinning, whirling, twirling, bobbing, tilted, hot molten center, sticky, sideways, upside down water ball, if you're going to support it, you better know about it. Not only how it's modeled, but you better know what the Bible says about it too. Nowhere in there is it referred to as a reflective rock. Nowhere. That takes care of the second question. No, it's a light. It's not a rock. And is it within the firmament? Yes. Yes. It's not 250,000 miles away. You take a Nikon and pull it right in like you could touch it. I don't know. Wiser men out there than me that know exactly how far the moon is away. I know one thing. You need triangulation to figure it out. Shouldn't be that hard to do. But if anybody knows anything about lighting and lights, pretty hard to measure a light that's just there. I mean, I guess you could do it. Anyway, interesting to me. Very interesting to me. I'll double check my panels here. And, you know, this is the biggest one. You know, when Jesus said in Matthew 24, you know, take heed, let no man deceive you. You know, and the boys wanted to know, what's going to happen before you come back, when you return? That was the first thing he said. Take heed, don't let any man deceive you. Don't let man deceive you. That's important. Really important here. And I think we all know why they do it. Everyone is worshiping at the altar of the technological automaton AI God. They've been building this and building this and building this for decades. So now it's implanted firmly in everyone's brains. So, bizarre. Anyway, just bizarre. You know, there was the panel I was looking for. When they say peace and safety, that's trouble, folks. There's only peace and safety in Christ. That's it. If you're thinking it's somewhere else, you're kidding yourself, as that old 80s song said. I think it was the 80s. Anyway, I think I'm running out. The big one was, I'm going to be right on the button. This was the panel I put up November last year, 2023, knowing that they were going to go around the moon. Artemis 2 was going to go around the moon in 2024, and then in 2025, they were going to send the most diverse group of astronauts ever. I found out that international guy's from Canada. That makes sense. Oh, Chris Hadfield 2, the sequel. Yeah, a Canadian, a woman, a POC, and then the token dirty white boy. That's your cast and crew for Artemis #3. Hey, we're going to the moon. Make sure you join us, will you? Yeah, okay. Well, you got 3 years now to either get your 4K perpetual curvature moon landscape be built. I don't know how they're going to do that because nothing structurally sound has ever been built on a ball, ever. But now they're going to have to. They're going to have to. That's their problem, though. That's not our problem. That is not. One quick little Sunday, understanding, really just an understanding. And we talk about it here quite a bit. We discuss it. The, be still, trust God, wait. All things will be added. That be still is really important. And each step I take up the straight and narrow, on the narrow path to the straight gate, each step I take, I understand that stillness is really important. Really important. You have to be still. Because if you're not still, how can you possibly be available to God? He's not interested in distractions. He's not interested in television and radio, iPads and iPhones, Androids and video games. He's not interested in any of that. None of that. So, got to be careful. So that was from the prayer closet this morning. But I felt led to say, stillness is important. Very important. All right. I think I'm done. I love the old, I got a minute to play with. I love the old George Carlin clip. I know he used the modern vernacular for dung, but, in regards to a few of these words that are out there, a female dog used for breeding, what is she called? We know. Okay. Dung and the modern terminology. I'm not saying use them like the millennials do, where every other word out of their mouth is filth and the F-bomb. But I'm just saying. They were saying dung back then. Well, maybe we should just say dung. Anyway,
Play the clip, you dumb man.
set her out there in 35 below zero and see how her cookies stand up.
A group of social criminals, these people in the space program, nassholes I call them. In case you haven't heard, the latest disaster for the rest of the universe is that the United States is going to go to Mars, okay? Oh, yeah. We're going to go to Mars. And then, of course, we're going to colonize deep space with our microwave hot dogs and plastic vomit, fake dog shit and cinnamon dental floss and lemon-scented toilet paper and sneakers with lights in the heels. And all these other impressive things we've done down here. But let me ask you this.
You know, he was way ahead of his time, especially in regards to this, but a lot of things. Carlin was just a common sense guy, but I think he common sensed himself to death because he didn't accept anything. He didn't accept God, or he was notoriously hard on the bearded white man in the sky. So, you know, I heard a couple of late interviews with him where he was softening his position on God and theology, but he did his best to destroy the idea. But at the same time, you know, his relationship with God is between him and God. I got nothing to do with it. You don't have anything to do with it. So that's it. But what we can observe, at least from this one, in a comedic sense, where most truth gets to slide right through into our brains, is just that. Is that he could see when somebody was lying, especially these chuckleheads. All right, that's it. That's it. I'm going to slide on over, so Margaret, that would be a cue to you. Oh, thank you. Very nice. Well, we'll be doing Choich this morning from the prayer closet, the box. Boy, oh boy. This is your Christian ponder time right here. All right. And the sun comes out. Sun dogs. Let's go in the chat. Boy, big numbers. Big numbers for this little bitty thing. Oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, a topic note, a program topic note for the room of writers. Please know that when we do God's Natural Order, we lose about 10 to 20 subscribers. Last week we did God's Natural Order. God and Christ, Christ and man, man over woman, woman over children. Yeah, we did that. Did about three or four freestandings and a live offering. Yeah. Lost 13 subscribers in 3 days. If we slide under 1,000, well, there you go. You take the good, you take the bad, and then you sing a song that's sad, the facts of life. The facts of life. Being silly now. I don't want to do that. Forgive me, Lord. All right. Chat. Mrs. E, thanks for all your help this morning. Thank you. Yeah. Dan Weston's in there, too. Dan also reminded us. Let's pull those up. Carlin hated hypocrites. He did. He hated hypocrites. William's in this morning. Morning, Billy. Mr. PK is here. Ed, always good stuff. Remember, keep your comments to a couple of lines so I can share them at the end. Good morning, KK. The man who's missing the third K. And if he had a third K in his initials, they'd come arrest him. Kevin Cuss, Uncle Drunkle's Country Cabin. Nice. Thanks for and if you get a chance for some weather updates, and it's pretty. Driving a John Deere lawnmower in snow. That was fun. Anyway, thanks, Kevin. Good to see you here. Yeah. No, I know. You know, I keep files to research, and I had a World War III file, and it had maybe 3 or 4, pieces in it. It's growing exponentially, as old Joe would say. Hey, did somebody call me? Nope, nobody called your name. Back in the bunker, Joe. Nobody's interested. Yeah. It's going to get weird out there, saints. And be joyful. Remember what that 2 Peter, I think it's 2 Peter, said? Don't dismay, because your brothers and sisters all across God's static breath realm are going through the same identical thing you're going through. So, be still. Be still. All right. Emily Suzanne is here this morning. Gary Towner's in this morning. Hoss, good to see you this morning. And the phone's ringing, and craft service is going to be cooking, and it's 40 below zero, and his pipes are going to be freezing. I shouldn't have said that. And Sally's here this morning. Oh, good. England swings like a pendulum do. Bobby's on bicycles 2x2. Okay, that's it. Too much fun. All right. May the peace, joy, love, grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ be with you this day and every day. Seek peace, saints. Seek peace. We'll see you.
Wonderful, magical, celestial light, fantastical, mystical, wonderful sight. Belgian Swiss physicist Auguste Piccard, 1931, first to reach for the stars, was the first to explore the air view stratospherius. A scientist curious to see what was there. And now I'm in your black bog on the helium balloon, with photos and instruments, sail towards the moon, rose in just half an hour, 52,000 feet, 10 miles of dense air pressure, up a dead traffic. black or blue light. A world run by deceivers, false make-believers, hiding in shadows, feeling our light. Mystical, fluorescent light, wonderful, magical, awesome. Yes, feeling our light. Wonderful, very light, supernatural, eternal, permanent. Up we go, higher than rainbows, higher than mountains, above you below, emphasis higher than air. High level horizon, 360 around us, but right round behind us, any height that you dare. The sun and the moon both revolve all around us, to forever short time pass intelligently there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, no more you deceive us, we see through you like air. Kipper and Picard were the first ever known to reach up there. Divine luminescent light, mystical, wonderful, celestial light. So what was their eternal testimony? What did they report back to humanity? Said it seemed like a flat disk far as eyes can see, with an upturned edge fading into infinity. A mystical, ethereal, celestial sight, a divine creation, a clockwork of light, designed here by deceivers and false make-believers, still cowering in shadows, still fearing our light. Here we go, higher than Everest, higher than airplanes, above zero, cumulus, higher than air. A level horizon, 360 around us, no motion beneath us, no spinning gold bells on the firmament, turns all around us to forever short time past geometrically there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, forever beneath us, we see through you like air. Mystic, solar, luminous light, fantastical, magical, bright, we see through you like air. Magical, angels of light, beautiful, wonderful, celestial light. The first to see truth when they reach for the stars, explorers and physicists, Kipper and Picard. Motionless, fluid we are. Level and motionless, therefore we are. A level horizon, 360 around us, no motion beneath us, no spinning gold bell. Never you'll beat us, never you'll defeat us, forever beneath us, we see through you like air. I'm gonna tell you about the coming of the judgment. Fare thee well, fare thee well. I'm gonna tell you about the coming of the judgment. Fare thee well, fare thee well. There's a better day a-coming. Fare thee well, fare thee well. There's a better day a-coming. Fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great getting up morning. Fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great getting up morning. Fare thee well, fare thee well. When you see the lightning flashing, fare thee well, fare thee well. When you hear the thunder crashing, fare thee well, fare thee well. When you see the stars are falling, fare thee well, fare thee well. And when you hear the chariots calling, fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well. In that great getting up morning, fare thee well, fare thee well. When you see the lightning flashing, when you hear the thunder crashing, when you see the stars are falling, when you hear the chariots calling, a-coming, good news. Chariots a-coming, so glad. Chariots a-coming, and I don't want to be left out.
Well, there's a long white robe in the heaven, I know.
Long white robe in the heavens, I know. Long white robe in the heavens, I know. I said good news. Chariots a-coming, good news. Chariots a-coming, so glad. Chariots a-coming, and I don't want to be left out. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well, fairly well. Fairly well, fairly well, fairly well. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. In that great getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well, fairly well.
Thanks a lot for searching that out. I appreciate that. Fisherman in the Box. Fisherman in a Box.